Okay, friends, welcome to Q&A Tuesday. So I love new people have joined the Facebook group and got some great comments there and questions and wonderings about this amazing, interesting, fascinating, very troubling predicament of overdoing it with food or eating, whether it's actually eating the ton of food or overthinking about the ton of food or over feeling troubled and stress about eating and food. And of course, as we all know here, or as you might know by now, there's something around a compulsive movement or an energy or a wave of over that definitely isn't just for eating food, weight, body issues. It's like just watching the process of this happening in the mind and the energy that rises and similar origin place that any one of us might have around the other things like I myself have experienced, like reaching to smoke, heading out to the bar, going to watch things on the internet, scrolling, thinking about the person that you want to text, kind of bringing in dreams or visuals or ideas or somehow that they pop in and we're off. We're off into that world and something happens. Not that that's anything, wrong, because it does seem to be the way the mind works. Okay, but so somebody's comment basically was around limits and food plans and making a plan, which can be done with just about anything. Here's what I'm going to allow myself. And there is such an interesting balance. So what I say to this and what seems has been my experience through my own life and then working with other people is that sometimes some kind of structure and guidelines, and it's like the little rails that are on when you go bowling, and they can put up little rails on the side so that a child or somebody who's brand new or beginner learning how to bowl doesn't constantly throw the bowl into a gutter ball, as they call it, and never have any fun whatsoever because it's just too hard. So they can put up these little rail guidings that make it so the ball will never go into the gutter and it still makes its way down the lane into this bowling game that happens, and it will still potentially knock one thing over, but you get to learn that way. So there is a place for bringing in those guidelines when it seems like you're in absolute chaos, and you can sometimes feel the relief of just having a plan. Here's what's going to happen. It's like you're going on a journey and you've got the itinerary. You're going on a journey and you know what to pack in your bag. Now that is not really the natural depth of way. Like that's the mind kind of talking about what needs to happen, or giving something for the mind to do, or solving the problem with kind of a mental construct there, it seems. And it just seems to me that there's a deep experience of knowing when we're hungry and then eating, consuming, drinking water if we're thirsty, and then coming to an endpoint when you know it begins to not feel so good and you're just aware, now we're becoming done, we're finishing, and now we're full, and now we've had enough. And then there's sort of a natural disconnect and movement into wherever life is taking us next. And this enjoyment of food is incredible enjoyment. And then it's simply over. And there isn't disappointment or agony or angst or wonderings or imagining or projecting about what's going to happen next because of what I've eaten. And I know we don't have that experience. That's why you're even here. So it's just wondering about this thing of overdoing it. Something that comes in that seems very mental and emotional and overdoes it. Okay. So one idea around that, for those completely uninterested in the guidelines, which can often feel like dieting, diet mentality, sometimes they can offer an incredible amount of safety and awareness. There's enough there. We're not on something extreme. There's just something that would be enough for daily life. And I highly recommend that approach if you're kind of wondering and you feel like I just really need something it's some kind of way or openness to be with food and eating that would last the rest of your life if it needed to. So in other words, you're having enough. You're not risking over hunger. You're not, plopping something into your life that you have to contend with. It's just whatever feels like peaceful, a relief, safe. But often this urge to, or this, not urge, need or desire or a place for guidelines comes in when we feel just a deep lack of trust about what happens. And I know that the trust gets focused on ourselves, doesn't it? I cannot trust this one that I am to eat the right amounts. I can't trust this one that I am to just rest with life or, not do the thing that's overdoing it. I can't trust myself. I have proof. I have evidence. Look at what I've done. So I think just first relaxing with that, awareness that there's something I don't trust here, and that's begins to be another thought, that something about who I am or what I am is not trustworthy. And it's kind of gets closed and harsh and got a grip to it that feels painful. Who would you be without the story that you can't trust yourself, that you even know what self is that you're talking about here? Could be just, it's just a pattern of mind that comes in and does what it does, finding pleasure, moving to food habitually as a place of receiving and lack of control and sweetening up the moment or spicing up the situation, addressing emotional concerns, patterns, ways that you're seeing the world. And what if you could truly trust yourself to have enough, eat enough? Like, what if you almost could give permission to yourself? The permission, I love that, give permission to yourselves, because in there you see this thing called permission. It's as if that there's a dictator or a ruler or an authority that's up there that's talking about that has rules and that you need permission to get from, that it's the one with all the plans and rules and like extreme clarity and boundaries, and here's what the diet looks like, or here's what peace looks like. Here's what a peaceful day of eating looks like. Here's what, not smoking is what this day looks like when you're doing the right thing. So right and wrong, that world of opposites. So what if you just relaxed that whole department, the entire thing, and allowed yourself to truly feel, what if trust wasn't missing? Like, who would you be without the story? Trust is missing here. There's something wrong with who I am. I need to go find it. I need to, build harsh lines here or have a crackdown, hold on tight. Who would you be without the story that that's what's needed, and that this trust is missing that you're seeking? What if you just gave yourself absolute, full, and complete permission, let's use that word, to have anything you want to eat, truly, truly what you want. What if you didn't judge so much what you want or say, oh my God, that would be dangerous? What if what you want actually matches more with what you can genuinely trust? I mean, we wouldn't be here if we didn't notice I had all that. I ate that. I did that. I consumed it. I went in, I kind of overed whatever the thing is. And we sort of had this waking up experience afterwards. And so like, wow, that I didn't even really want it, or it didn't, now I feel upset and I just feel kind of hungover or, lousy. It didn't really do what I was hoping it would do. Maybe it did a little bit, which is why it's kind of compelling, but I didn't like the full experience. It's not what I really wanted. And just asking the question, is this what I really want? The thing that I latch onto constantly. You could almost apply this to the dream. So many people have this dream of enlightenment, awakening, where life will be going someday, what it would be like if I had this experience where there was a dawning in my life that was, unique and unusual. And then from that point forward, all was well forever. Who would I be without the story? Noticing how that goes into the future. There's a movement or a direction into the future around that and what it will look like, and will look better than it looks here. But if I really could trust, it's just open to imagining, what if I could trust, even though I've had all these off balance moments of compulsion, whatever, the mind has been doing what it does, emotions have been doing what they do. What if I could trust something here anyway? What if I could relax and be open to what is here, that's within, and that it's not missing? So what that would be like, if you really just asked yourself, not what you should or shouldn't have, but what you truly, truly want. What do you want? And stay open and alive in that question and in that experience as you're moving about your day. I mean, often it's interesting to see that when there's been this lack of trust about ourselves, there's also a lack of trust about life itself and how it works and how it unfolds. I mean, I have things like that running through my mind. I need to pay attention to the calendar, or, wow, I'm not doing this thing over here. That would be better if I did that over there. And I don't know. It just, life is doing what it does. So what if I could trust that is enough, and relax? Who would I be without the story? I can't trust life itself. Can't trust myself. Can't trust life. Can't trust what I want. What if it is my thinking wants all that, all the more-ness? It loves to go for it, like, oh yeah, that's really good. And then it just wants more of that. And it kind of races in that direction and has this incredible power of seeing lots of images of the future and how great it's going to be later and how bad it was in the past. And I love Eckhart Tolle says, it just talks about thought is always looking at what's happened so far in the past and projecting about what's happening in the future. Rarely is right now. If we ask ourselves to just like, what's here happening now? What's being here right now in this moment? Suddenly something different happens. The body comes in as being involved. Like our senses just become more on alert. Kind of see colors and hear sounds and smell and notice the air and the breath. Just aware of a physical sense of a presence here. And sure, there might be thoughts hanging around and being busy in the background and doing what they do. And there's also like sort of just such a beautiful awareness of what's here in the moment. And from there, I can connect, you feel right now, wherever you are, whenever you're listening to this, the state of your body, if there's no judgment about should or shouldn't, if that just wasn't even there. So even if it is there and your mind is talking about it, if it wasn't even the truth, if you didn't believe it, and you checked in with your body about its state of experience in this moment, whether it needs food or is thirsty or isn't, and just trust you have all that's needed to be able to give you the answer, to feel what's true, and that you have so much time. It's never urgent. We always think it's so urgent. It's usually in the mind, that feeling of urgency about changing the channel and getting to the thing we need to get to, or grabbing the food, or so much panic, kind of anxiety in it, or finishing the thing, or doing the task, or whatever it is, managing our thoughts. Who would you be without the story? You can't trust what is. What if you could trust? So what if you just gave yourself full and complete permission to eat whatever you want? What if whatever you want is trustworthy in this moment? Not as you picture. The mind likes to take that and kind of grab onto it and then see where more would be really good, or where this could go, or what might happen. But just trusting there's a flow in and out, just like breathing, especially with food and eating, just like breath. A moment of enough, being in tune with it, being right there, without any shoulds or shouldn'ts. Without any shoulds or shouldn'ts. It's an amazing experience. More amazing than we often realize. There'll be lots of thoughts sometimes that maybe are worthy of inquiry that come up that say, if I don't, have a management plan about this, if I don't say this should be what it looks like and this shouldn't be what it looks like, then it'll be dangerous. It won't look good. I'll never lose weight. I won't be healthy. I'll get cancer. Like lots of danger kind of visions can come up. And then that's really, can you absolutely know that that's true? Can you know that? And can you know that if whatever happens isn't just something that's an offering that you can trust, that can show you the way? Just who would you be without the story? I can't trust this day, this hour, this moment, life itself. What if I could just follow whatever it is that I'm wanting without the should and shouldn't rules fully? I think you'll find that you are aware that there's a point that says, it's aware. I'm getting full. I'm slowing down. Done. Clicks in. Done. Enough. And it's okay if you've noticed, there's disappointment because it was just so tasty and so good. And there's lots that was on, and just see about life too, prior to that, because these compulsive energy only seems to come in when I'm nervous and I feel that lack of trust about life and how it's flowing. And I think I need to get in and get involved. And it's just, the way the mind seems to work is it comes in and wants to get involved. So practice that today. Full and complete and total openness to meeting whatever it is that I want, to eating whatever it is that I actually want. Joyfully, like experiencing it fully. Noticing the pleasure, noticing the results, noticing how I feel about it. Just being aware, so aware, with no shoulds or shouldn'ts. What if I was an alien from another planet and I just got here and I didn't know the right or wrongs? And that doesn't mean that there aren't some things that are really wise and obvious. We'll talk about that another day, about like natural and whole foods and all that kind of stuff. And industrial food seems to be substituted food and all that stuff. That's okay to be seeing, but if it's not a crime, if you don't have to hold on to that and you just kind of see and feel how things work in the body, and you're aware and open and willing and able to follow what works, follow the simple directions within. So see if there's any more questions that come up out of this inquiry today. It might be like when I'm saying I can't trust myself, so I need to make rules. I can't trust my thinking, especially when it comes to these other kinds of situations that probably don't have anything to do with food and eating, and then also maybe do. I can't trust my own thinking here, it seems. And thought is just churning out all these different kinds of things that even oppose each other. So it could be true that it's like the wind blowing and I'm trying to get answers from the wind. I can't trust that. That's not the place to ask for this. It's for the present moment experience here. So I can't trust my thinking, and just being willing to open up to that turnaround and find examples. And I can trust. I can trust. I can trust what I want. I can trust life. I can trust whatever this is that I am, the moment. I can trust it. I can be with it. I can, the trust is not missing. It's available. No matter what has ever happened, it's available here. It's not destroyed. So growing that, what if I could? What if whatever I think I'm seeking is not actually missing? And just and eat with that idea in mind. Eating with without a should or shouldn't, without dangers, making a mistake, right or wrong. Who would I be in the presence of food, hunger, fullness? All right, if more questions appear, send them to me in the Facebook group. Shoot me an email. Love answering these questions. Love what comes up from everybody. So, and as always, if you're interested and eager in being in inquiry once a week with a small group, really looking at this compulsive energy and watching kind of addictive behavior, eating, consumption. Of course, we've got the Eating Peace Inquiry Circle. So you can find out more always about that at workwithgrace.com. Thanks for being here today, everybody. Lots of love.